tonight are on the broad road that leads to destruction. And tonight, I would say with Moses, I would say with Joshua, turn, repent, choose God, serve Him, live for Him. That is the message of God tonight to this great audience of people at Yankee Stadium.
I see revival coming to planet Earth, maybe as never before. It will be untold numbers, and untold, uncounted multitudes that will be saved. The dead will be raised. The arthritic will be healed. Cancer will be healed. No disease will be able to stand before God's people, and that it would be a worldwide situation.
There's a church that doesn't just know about God, they know God. They don't just believe in His power, they carry His power. God will shake the United States of America one last time, not by might, not by power, but by my Spirit.
China. 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 China.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Check the Market, the stock market in wartime, what you should know. We'll be taking a look at some things today, some moves that you can make with the current tensions in Ukraine. I say tensions, full invasion.
Full invasion?
Full invasion, which is freak out like everybody
tensions.
else. Thank you, Alice. Happy Friday to you, too. Thank you, Alana. I agree. These are cool graphics. Little 80s vibe, little Miami Vice style. Just the way I like it. Christophoris, frigid Indianapolis. It's not that cold here today. Carrie. Good morning. Ninja Buddha in the house. Michael Frost. How's everybody doing? Make sure you share the broadcast. We're going to go into it today, see what's going on, see what happened last night as we were sleeping over in Europe.
Seems like there's never-ending news.
It is.
Usually the news cycle is just repetitive. We're slowly incrementally building on the last story, but now it's boom, bombs just going off one after another, and it's so hard to keep up.
I saw last night I opened right before I went to bed, which I shouldn't have done because it always like,
It gets you going like right before you're supposed to sleep.
I shouldn't do that. I opened up Fox News and the picture that I saw was just like what looked like sulfur raining from heaven, and it was rocket attacks on Kiev, and I was like, well, here we go, like now we're at full scale.
Yeah.
And then when I looked into it, it was actually Russian drones and Russian military planes that were shot down by anti-aircraft and not missiles.
They weren't missiles.
No, so it gets you like the headlines get you all like,
So you gotta dig a little
sometimes what we
deeper.
do here on Check the Market, where we just, a little bit of clickbait.
A little bit of clickbait. It entices, right? Well, let's check what's going on. Oh, we don't have the inspirational music for this? Darn. So this is a memorial in Ukraine. Oh, there we go. And it was gifted to Ukraine by Russia, and it was a symbol, I believe in 2018, that was given to them, a symbol of their joint partnership and mutual respect. But then activists went and that big, slash was not there up top.
So they put this slash
So they
up there?
went and activists painted that because of the tensions. There you go. So it's like everybody has been waiting for this moment, and they've just been waiting. That's why this never happened under President Trump. They were waiting for Biden, but that's why Putin wanted Hillary Clinton in so bad. It's because he wanted to invade Ukraine under a potential presidential President Clinton, Hillary Clinton. But now we're seeing it. So I just thought it was an interesting tidbit. Next. Founders of crypto exchange admit to Bank Secrecy Act violations. Thought this was interesting stuff. Next. Do we have the article for that? Yeah? Okay, we'll read the first page. Arthur Hayes and Benjamin Dalo, founders and executives of purportedly offshore cryptocurrency derivatives exchange, the Bitcoin Mercantile Exchange, or BitMEX, pled guilty today to violating the Bank Secrecy Act, the BSA, by willfully failing to establish, implement, and maintain an anti-money laundering program at BitMEX. Under the terms of their respective plea agreements, Hayes and Dalo each agreed to separately pay a $10 million criminal fine representing pecuniary gain derived from the offense. Hayes and Dalo pled guilty today before U.S. District Judge John G. Cotai. We won't continue reading, but nonetheless, interesting stuff is all this regulation around crypto is it's coming really hard into force all of a sudden, it feels like. So I thought it was interesting that there's already this legislation to regulate it. But nonetheless, let's continue. Breaking, the Taliban calls on Russia and Ukraine to resolve the crisis through dialogue and peaceful means. I thought this was just slightly humorous.
This is, yes.
Because
this is good stuff.
This
right
is
here.
really good stuff. So there's a statement concerning the crisis in Ukraine from the Taliban. It's the same thing. Like Ukraine or the Iranian regime and the Chinese regime also called out Justin Trudeau. So, they kind of have a point.
Yeah, no, they do have a point.
They do have a point.
Because he has been harping on them for so long.
Exactly.
You need to, this, equal rights, all this stuff, right?
And then it comes to this, and it's
they have an opportunity where they're like, oh, look at that. You're just like us, cracking down on protesters.
It's kind
interesting.
it's awesome to see slightly. Next. Lithuania declares state of emergency following Russia's Ukrainian invasion. Let's see it. Lithuanian President Gitanas, something or other, on Thursday. Nausea. I'm like, no, it's not, man. On Thursday, signed a decree declaring a state of emergency, which Parliament approved unanimously during an extraordinary session the same day. I declare that a state of emergency is introduced because of the Russian Federation's actions that threaten Lithuania's primary security interests, stated the president. The biggest concern at the moment is hybrid and other kinds of attacks against Lithuania. The state of emergency across Lithuania's territory came into effect at 1 p.m. on Thursday and will last until March 10th. During that period, the country's border security is strengthened and vehicles crossing the border are being checked for weapons. But it is not only the border, as possible attacks may happen not only 5 or 10 kilometers away from the border, but may happen deeper in the country, stated the president's advisor. Institutions responsible for critical infrastructure security are also thus being empowered. So interesting movements. A lot of the Balkan states, are prepping for potential invasion, but they're bulking up their ability to combat such invasion. Just something to keep an eye on. Next. Ukrainian central bank suspends electronic cash transfers, bolstering the use of crypto. I believe this was new.
Ukrainian central bank suspends electronic cash transfers, bolstering the use case for crypto. I thought this was very interesting because in the Ukraine now, they had a declared like an emergency. Martial law has been declared. You can't take cash out of ATMs. And even the movement of electronic funds has been limited now. So
that's pretty
Venmo,
sketch.
PayPal, apps like that, Ukrainian payment apps like that have been limited. So the only way for you to move cash basically in the Ukraine is crypto, which makes a big use case for it. Let's see the article. Ukraine's central bank is cracking down on digital money transfers in one of the latest measures implemented in connection with a nationwide declaration of martial law. The National Bank of Ukraine ordered electronic money issuers to suspend the issuance of e-money and the replenishment of electronic wallets with e-money. The written order also indicated that the distribution of e-money was temporarily off limits. The reference to electronic money likely refers to fiat currencies held in digital accounts through platforms like Venmo or PayPal. This is one among many new rules rolled out by the country's central bank as Russian forces lay siege across Ukraine. The National Bank of Ukraine released a statement Thursday with a spate of resolutions, including an order to suspend the foreign exchange market, limit cash withdrawals, and prohibit the issuance of foreign currency from retail bank accounts. As Ukraine cracks down on pathways to cash and Moscow unleashes airstrikes and ground troops, some Ukrainians are instead turning to cryptocurrencies. I mean, I don't understand why they would do this, because how are your people going to get food and stuff? Mm-hmm. Continue. Kuna, a popular Ukrainian crypto exchange, shows that domestic buyers are paying a premium for Tether's US dollar stablecoin, which is pegged to the price of the US dollar. We don't trust the government. We don't trust the banking system. We don't trust the local currency, said Michael Chobanian, founder of Kuna, in an interview with CoinDesk. The majority of people have nothing else to choose apart from crypto. Tether is the most popular stablecoin by market cap at nearly 80 billion, and unlike cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin and Ethereum, which have experienced a great deal of volatility in recent weeks amid growing geopolitical tensions, Tether, like other stablecoins, of its kind, is generally pretty steady in value. At the current exchange rate, however, the price for one Tether is roughly 32 Ukrainian hryvnia, or $1.10, thanks to increased demand. So they're paying a 10% premium for basically digital US dollars. Continue. For months, Ukrainian leaders have been looking to rebrand as a mecca for digital currencies. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky signed a law in 2021 that paved the way for the country's central bank to issue its own digital currency, and the President and Parliament recently came to terms on a law to legalize and regulate cryptocurrency. Before the Russian attack, Ukraine had plans to open the cryptocurrency market to businesses and investors, according to the Kiev Post. Top state officials have also been touting their crypto street cred to investors and venture capital funds from Silicon Valley, but the Russian invasion has pulled focus from these efforts. But it is good that, even though that's a hard time for Ukrainians, that there is a way through cryptocurrencies where they can still get money, so that, because that's something they can't shut down.
Yep.
You cannot shut down cryptocurrency. It's on a blockchain. It's global. So even if they shut down the servers in the Ukraine, they still got servers all over the world.
Yep.
But they can shut down everything else. They can shut down the banking system. They can shut down gold. They can confiscate your gold. They can confiscate your silver. So this is a good alternative, especially in times like these. So that's just another use case for cryptocurrency. Continue. How the stock market performs in times of war. Let's take a look at it. Investors have been monitoring developments in Ukraine on a daily basis for several weeks. The Russia-Ukraine turmoil has weighed on the market, has weighed on the market in recent weeks, sending the S&P 500 down 10% year to date. Investors can look back at previous periods of U.S. wars for a potential gauge of what to expect if the U.S. gets involved in the Ukraine conflict in a significant way. The most recent example of an unexpected U.S. military conflict came during and after the terrorist attacks on September 11th. In the 2 years following the attack, the U.S. launched large-scale military operations in Iraq and Afghanistan, and the stock market struggled. Continue. So there's the performance. From September 10th to September 2001 to September 10th, 2003, the S&P 500 dropped 7.4% overall. Tech sector stocks were hit particularly hard. The technology, the select sector Spider Fund dropped 12.9% during that 2-year stretch, but some tech stocks got hit particularly hard. For example, shares of chipmaker Nvidia dropped 66% in the 2 years following the September 11th attack. Not surprisingly, a handful of defense and aerospace stocks, which those would be good ones to take a look at. There have already been soaring, but companies like Lockheed Martin, Honeywell, Boeing, Oshkosh. What am I missing? Am I missing any? I'm sure I'm missing a bunch. But those are some that you can take a look at for potential gains there if the U.S. does get involved. The good news for investors is that certainly no guarantee that war means stock prices will fall. During World War II, from September 1st, 1939 to August 31st, 1945, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 50%, or roughly a 7% annual return. During the U.S. involvement in Vietnam, from March 1965 to March 1973, the S&P 500 gained a modest 29.1%, still a gain. Continue. Of course, there are several unique aspects of the conflict in Ukraine that make the situation different than during past wars. Russia is the world's third largest oil producer, and the US and other nations around the world would almost certainly leverage economic sanctions against Russia if it were to launch a full-scale invasion, which sanctions have been rolling out on almost a daily basis. So I would take a look at those sanctions if you want to trade this. What I would do is I would take a look at the sanctions and see what exactly is being sanctioned. If they're sanctioning mining companies for platinum, if they're sanctioning mining companies for palladium, if they're sanctioning oil and gas where the West basically wouldn't be able to buy oil and gas from Russia anymore, then you need to take a look at alternatives. What are the alternatives? What would be the alternatives for Europe and the United States where they could make up for the shortfall and then invest in those companies? One way to play defense against market uncertainty is to rotate out of stocks with troubled balance sheets that may have benefited from U.S. pandemic stimulus. Instead, profitable companies with strong balance sheets, valuable brands, and U.S.-centered businesses could hold up relatively well during times of war. So companies like Walmart, companies like Target, big blue chip companies in the United States that have always done great, that are more on the defensive side. If you're blindly looking and trading stocks the way 99% of traders are, you are missing out on huge potential returns. Even new traders who started following, oh, this is some sort of commercial or something. Continue. Markets open. And let's take a look, see where we're at. Dow Jones up 104 points. And it looks like the bell got stuck. NASDAQ down 36 points, and the S&P 500 is up 6 points, 7 points. So trading fairly flat right now, but we'll see what happens. Yesterday was crazy. I mean, the markets was way down in the morning, and then it ended positive.
Yep.
It
was really
was like
bizarre.
a huge swing. So there was a lot of selling. People had bought a lot of puts on the S&P 500, and they sold them throughout the day. And as they were selling them, and the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ, the indices went back up like crazy. So yeah, it was pretty cool to see that my portfolio went from huge negatives to nice positives.
Nice positives.
So it looks like Russia did not invade our portfolios. Just in the morning, but then they pulled back.
They're just tapping.
Yeah.
Just knocking on the door. We're here.
Dow Jones is up 168 points. Let's take a look at cryptocurrencies. It looks like the Nasdaq's down slightly. The Dow Jones, so there is a lot of, what that looks like to me is that there is a lot of buying of the blue chip stocks. So people taking their winnings from tech and putting it into blue chip stocks. Since the Nasdaq is down slightly. Let's take a look at cryptocurrencies. The market is up over the last 24 hours, about 12.11%. Bitcoin up 10% at 3,900. Ethereum up 13% at 2,600. XRP up 11% at 71 cents. Cardano 87 cents. Solana is up 11. Shiba Inu up 12%. Is SafeMoon up? Does anybody know? If anybody is in SafeMoon. Looking good for cryptocurrency today. All right, next. Yahoo Finance. Don't check your stock watch list. It's all red, bro. Coinbase, bro. Crypto is... Don't look. Go outside for a walk or something. Dear client, your checking account has a balance of negative $37.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. Their checking account has a balance of negative $37 and their Coinbase account guaranteed has $300,000 in it. That's how my crypto bros do it. They have $0 in their checking account and they're holding massive amounts in their cryptocurrencies. Why traders need to watch palladium and platinum stocks right now. Let's see it. Russia's invasion of Ukraine and the resulting sanctions on Russia are putting pressure on several sectors, including commodities. Two precious metals that could be affected by the global crisis are palladium and platinum. The US and other countries are imposing sanctions on Russia, which could impact exports out of the country across varying sectors. Russia is the largest global producer of palladium and the number 2 producers of platinum, two metals that could be impacted by the Eastern European conflict. 39% of the global refined supply of palladium comes from Russia, according to Kitco. The country also accounts for around 11% of the global platinum supply. That's huge. Palladium is used by automotive manufacturers in electronics and in jewelry. Platinum is the third most traded precious metal in the world behind gold and silver and is also used for automotive and jewelry applications along with industrial and medical items. Continue. Palladium was up nearly 7% to $2,648 an ounce on Thursday. The metal started the year trading around $1,905 and is now up over 30% year to date. Platinum was down more than 1% and is up around 15% year to date. Right now, exporters of metals in Russia have not been affected by sanctions, but that could change. So that's something that we should keep an eye on. If the EU or the United States sanctions, which I don't think they will. I don't think they're going to sanction this because this is huge. Already with the supply chain shock that we have, there's probably a slight chance that this could happen. The rising price and potential supply issues could hurt the already ailing automotive sector. Companies like General Motors and Ford are companies that could see prices increase or supply constraints. Palladium hit an all-time high of $3,017 an ounce in May 2021 before falling on production cuts from the auto industry. That's one thing that the U.S. does not want, would be even more supply chain shock in the automotive industry, because right now, cars, or the price of used cars is up 40%, which is making up a huge chunk of the 7.1% inflation that we have seen. So if used car prices keep going up, then inflation is going to keep going up and it's not going to look good. But at that point, they'll probably take used cars out of the equation anyway. Many of the precious metals stocks trade over the counter or in international exchanges. The following are a few stocks on major exchanges that offer exposure to palladium and or platinum. So here are a couple that you can take a look at. Let's see them. Platinum Group Metals is the operator of the Waterberg project, which has deposits of metals like palladium and platinum. The company has seen shares rise over the last 2 trading sessions, with shares up 3.97% to $2.10. Wow, that's not bad. So Platinum Group Metals, Sibanye Stillwater, a miner of several minerals, A-Mark Precious Metals, ETFs. So there's some ETFs too that you can take a look at. Let's see them. Aberdeen Standard Physical Palladium Shares ETF, PALL. Aberdeen Standard Physical Platinum Shares, PLPT, SPPP, and GLTR. Those are some to take a look at if this these sanctions start taking, if the sanction people that make the sanctions start looking at metals. Continue. Beyond Meat shares tumble after reporting wider than expected loss and shrinking revenue. Beyond Meat last year, when we first started Check the Market, was a huge darling in the market. Everybody loved it. They just gone public. Everybody was like, this is the future. Looks like it's not the future. People do not want Beyond Meat. They want actual meat. So I'm sorry, Klaus Schwab.
Sad day for Bill Gates.
But I will be eating meat as much as I possibly can. Continue. Beyond Meat on Thursday reporting a wider than expected loss and shrinking revenue for its fourth quarter as it shifts its focus from slumping grocery sales to scaling its production for large fast food launches. I don't know. People aren't going to buy it. The new year kicked off with the debut of KFC Beyond Fried Chicken, while February brought an expanded test for McDonald's McPlant Burger, which is made with Beyond's beef patty substitute. Despite the potential new business and a plan to cut back on spending, the company's stock fell 11% in extended trading as its 2022 revenue outlook was disappointing. Here's what the company reported in the 3 months ended December 31st. Compared with what Wall Street was expecting, loss per share was $1.27 versus 71 cents. That's huge. Revenue was $100 million versus 101.4 million, which I don't understand how they're making $100 million in revenue. Continue. Beyond reported fourth quarter net loss of $80.37 million or 127 cents per share, which is wider than the loss of $25 million or 40 cents per share a year earlier. Wow.
Whoa.
Executives said higher costs came from the company's choice to lean more on expensive co-manufacturing facilities rather than its own manufacturing plants for production. In addition to costing more, the shift also meant paying higher transportation and logistics fees. This allocation was the right decision, given the long-term importance of the supported projects. Long-term importance, please. Give me a break. Brown said in a statement that the company expects to substantially moderate the growth of its operating expenses, which could help it return to profitability. The investment we made in our team infrastructure and capabilities across the US, EU, and China, as well as extensive product selling activities for key strategic partner, weighed heavily on operating expenses and gross margin during the fourth quarter. Well, not a darling anymore. Beyond Meat. I would do a taste test of it, but I really don't want to.
It's so disgusting.
Have you tried it?
I tried it once because my friend made it for me, and it's really gross.
Yeah?
It's really gross. Like it looks like beef.
Yeah.
And it smells almost like beef, but then you know it's not beef, and you just go, ugh. Like it's repulsing. Honestly, don't do it.
All right.
It belongs in the trash. It's where it belongs.
Next. The last thing your trading account sees before being liquidated.
That's great.
Yes. Oh, man.
I love it.
Next.
Seriously, it's such a sad situation, but
It
the
really
memes coming
is.
out of this is fantastic.
SPAC startups made lofty promises they aren't working out. Hot upstarts that went public via blank check companies are missing revenue and earnings targets, sometimes months after making those forecasts. The biggest losses that I had last year was from SPACs.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
So I'm really not interested in investing in SPAC startups anymore. I mean, there could be one or two that could end up being great companies, but it's just, it's true, they make these lofty promises and then it doesn't pan out. Let's see it. A startup battery maker that wooed investors with rapid growth forecasts said it would miss its revenue target by as much as 89%. The entire financial team should be fired immediately.
Dang.
A scooter rental app is expected to bring in less than 20% of what it projected this year. An electric bus company that planned to boost revenue faster than any U.S. startup ever told investors to disregard its projections.
Wow.
This is misleading investors, and there should be serious consequences to this. Continue. There should be like a chart in there or something. There we go. Look at that. The original projection for Lion Electric, which is the company that I looked at, was $200 million, and now they're, right around 50 million. That's huge.
Wow.
Nikola, over 150 million, and what is that? Maybe $10 million in revenue projections and forecasts. Lordstown Motors doesn't even have an estimate. App Harvest, which is another one that I liked last year. I think it's like computerized growing of food and stuff. Continue. In November, 8 months after the electric bus and van maker arrival through a SPAC merger, Chief Executive Dennis Sverdlov offered an update on an earnings call with investors. We withdraw our long-term forecasts. Interesting. He said, adding that the company was putting forward a more conservative view. They need to put down a more conservative view before they get investors.
Jeez.
I'm starting to think that all of these SPACs are just Ponzi schemes.
Really?
Look, if you look at it.
I know.
This
is really brutal.
To say we're going to make $150 million next year, and then, well, you know what? We misspoke. We'll only be making $10 million.
And how can you actually go out there and just say we withdraw our long-term forecasts? Like, they're already made. You can't just do that.
And it's not like something happened where the company burned down or something like that. It's
just bad altogether.
Exactly.
It's all bad. Yikes.
Next, what else we got today? Oh, I thought this was interesting. So there is a no-fly zone around the Ukraine, right? Mm-hmm. So everybody flying around the Ukraine except for Air India. They're like, we're just going to go right through. Whatever happens, happens.
Such is life.
Just blow right through the Ukraine.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow.
The captain came on. He's like, we're going to be actually in Frankfurt a little bit early. We're going to take a shortcut through the Ukraine. Everybody put your seatbelts on.
That's so bad.
Right?
They literally have missile defense systems. How many people are you carrying on that plane?
Air India's like, we'll take the risk. We're flying at 38,000 feet.
Oh my god.
We'll be fine. I will not be flying Air India, that's for sure.
Never.
All right, next. Dow Futures rises more than 100 points. And it's up 200 points now on the Dow, down 65 on the NASDAQ, and up 18 on the S&P. So there you have it. Let's take a look at some stocks to research. I almost forgot about that today. So I've been getting into cryptocurrencies. I bought the dip on XRP. XRP is still below $1. So I think that's a good buy. Take a look at cryptocurrencies overall today. Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and AVEX are the ones that I'm buying. So for Crypto Friday, it's the good old faithfuls there. Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and AVEX. Medium risk. This is one that I've been taking a look at. Rio, R-I-O, Rio Tinto PLC. It's a United Kingdom-based mining company. They've got a huge dividend, over 9%. They've had double-digit earnings growth over the last 5 years. I believe that at some point, I mean, even now we're seeing a rebound in materials and mining. So I think that this is a pretty good stock. The company is trading at 2.37x price to book, 6.73x price to earnings. It has enough assets to service its debt comfortably. And with metals prices rising, this could be a good buy. I'm looking for 10%. I bought Vale, which is another mining company, and I wanted to hold it for a while, but I made about 15%, so I sold it. So I'm going to do the same with Rio, see if I can make about 10 to 15% profit over the next couple of months. And but if you want to buy it just for the dividends, 9% dividend is pretty good for a mining company that is established. That's a huge mining company. So there you have it. And mining stocks have been neglected because of all the ESG stuff. But we need mining companies, otherwise we won't get our Teslas and whatnot, and iPhones and stuff. So there you have it, RIO. And then take a look at cryptocurrencies today on the rebound. I should have bought some Doge, actually. I was thinking about it last night when I got a notification that Doge was way down. I was like, man, I should buy some, but I didn't, and I should have. If you'd like to invest in Revival today, we've got a giveaway for you this week, The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason, which is great. It has financial parables, so if you'd like to donate to Revival today and everything that we do here with the church, feeding 1,500 kids, then we'll send that to you as a way to say thank you. And you can read it to your kids. That way they can understand financial principles. So you can put up the ways to give real quick. There you have it. revivaltoday.com/give. You can text RT, #donate on Facebook, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Cryptocurrencies, right there. And then you can send it by mail. Revival Today, P.O. Box 7, Prosperity, Pennsylvania, 15329. And then don't forget to claim your offer, which is that book, The Richest Man in Babylon, at revivaltoday.com/offer. That way we can get that to you. And we say thank you. And thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being with us, joining us this week. Evangelist Jonathan's going to be on in just a couple of minutes. So from us here at Check the Market, Check the News.
Check the News.
We'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend and go out there and make some money today.